people in the service industry, what are some really dumb ways you've caught someone trying to cheat the system? At my McDonald's, this guy came with his 2 young kids and got Happy Meals and then called me over and said this cheeseburger has no meat and demanded that he get another cheeseburger, and then one of his kids said, "Dad, you just ate it," referring to the meat in the cheeseburger. Congratulations sir, you played yourself. I actually did get a cheeseburger with no burger once. It was like 20 years ago, swear to God. Thankfully the cheese had already melted onto the other bun so you could tell I wasn't bullshitting them. Worked at Office Depot. The rewards program used to give a % of purchases back to the customer in the form of a gift card every quarter. One cashier at OD decided to sign up for the rewards program under her name and scan customers' purchases throughout the day under her own account. She ended up accruing thousands of dollars in rewards in one quarter. This is with 1% back on most purchases, which was more than any other customer in the southeast region of the US. Needless to say, it wasn't very difficult for management to realize what had happened. Shortly after that incident, Office Depot switched up the rewards program so this couldn't happen again. As far as cheating the system goes, that's actually pretty smart if only she didn't overdo it. It didn't happen to me, but a coworker of mine shipped a guitar to a customer once and the customer called in saying he never received it, demanding a replacement be sent immediately or else he would sue. Tracking info said it was delivered and signed for, but delivery theft is still pretty common. On a whim though, my coworker looked him up on Facebook only to find him holding the guitar in his profile picture, with the caption, "My new guitar just arrived." Management sent him a screenshot of that. He was never heard from again. A delightfully drunk man insisted that the mop he was carrying away was his. You brought it with you on a winery tour. We used to have free food for happy hour. Just some deep fried Cisco crap like chicken tenders or jalapeno poppers. So many people would come in, order a water, load up on free apps and leave. We would stagger bringing them out, a tray at a time, for the whole happy hour. The people who were not paying for any drinks often had the balls to get upset and complain when they weren't coming out in a timely manner. They wanted nachos, but the queso was $2 cheaper, so they tried to order queso with the meat on the side. Explaining this reasoning to the server with straight faces, they threw a fit when the server and then the manager explained that the queso was already mixed in one big pot and we weren't going to pick out the solid bits for one order, especially since it's not like it would make a difference in how it tastes. Naturally, they complained about all the food they ate. They didn't end up ordering queso or nachos. Apparently that was a deal breaker, but my manager had a "if you cleaned your plate, you obviously liked the food" policy, so they were ultimately unsuccessful all around. I scanned a shirt without looking carefully and it rang up at $16.99. The customer politely asked me to check the tag, because it was marked $10. I apologized and took a look. The clearance sticker was placed in entirely the wrong place, leaving the regular price barcode completely exposed, so that's what the scanner picked up. I apologized again and explained that the tickets didn't match up but we'd have somebody run a confirmatory price check. That was the first item I had scanned, so I was extra vigilant with his other items, all of which had improperly placed clearance tickets. They were all men's big and tall sizes, but at least one of the clearance tags was from Junior Miss. Some of the items were already clearanced, but with a replaced tag for just $2 or $3 difference, I would have caught it eventually, but pointing out the scanning error is what tipped me off. Throughout the whole thing, the guy was unfailingly polite, so I kept thanking him for his patience while we ran for price checks. He still bought $50 worth of stuff. Another favorite was when one of our known shoplifters, the kind who does it as a criminal enterprise, turned in a job application. We had her on camera stealing handbags earlier that day. I used to work as a hostess at a popular wing place. Once we had a family come through and when it was time to pay they handed their server a Denny's coupon. The server was like, "This is for Denny's, not for here," and the customer said, "Oh, I just thought I would try it anyways. You never know." I always try out my Dave & Buster's card at the local TGI Fridays, just in case. My favorite in my McDonald's are the people who don't realize our soda fountain is behind the counter and they ask for a cup for water. So, we get them a cup of water and hand it to them. They realize they can't fill it with the soda they wanted and then they go ahead and order a soda anyway. The best caught in the act moment ever. Former fancy pants hotel worker here. We have a strict no smoking in the hotel policy because it's a city law and b. old, historic building. But foremost, the city law dictates that if you allow smoking in your business, the air quality has to meet this impossible standard. I'm not sure what that standard is, but you can look up Mike Ditzker's restaurateur in the smoking ban for details. Anyhow, even with a $300 fine detailed at check-in and also in room, people would still try to smoke in the rooms and get away with it. If they didn't leave evidence, we couldn't charge them. But oddly enough, nobody was ever that smart. On one occasion, the room was rank with smoke, and the housekeeper found a pop can loaded with cigarette butts. We actually photograph, tag, and inventory these items because people would tend to dispute these charges. So when presented with the evidence, the lady tells us that she was smoking outside the building, ashing into her hand, and then carrying her ashes up to her room on the 14th floor, and carefully depositing all of her ashes into the tiny hole of the pop can. She unsuccessfully disputed her charges. FYI, the $300 charge is in place because we cannot sell the room until the air quality is that of a room where somebody was not smoking. With a good ozone machine, that might take a day or two. When someone tries to return an item after wearing it and there's a giant stain that they couldn't get rid of. To piggyback off this, I get customers all the time complaining about deodorant marks on clothing to try and get a discount on it. When we can wipe it off right in front of them, they're always a little upset. Then I sometimes get customers who get their own makeup on a garment and try to get to discount. In retail, people cutting out a UPC for a cheap item and taping or gluing it to a more expensive one. I mean, if you're going to do that, don't use the UPC for a $50 item on a lawnmower. I think a super popular one that most people are probably familiar with would be, let me talk to your manager. This is especially common when you are simply doing your job as instructed, following rules and policies, and you tell the customer something that don't want to hear. My ticket says it expires on the 1st of January, 2014. Can I still use that today? No ma'am, I'm afraid not. Since the ticket has expired, you will not be able to use it. You'll need to buy a new ticket. What? Nobody ever told me I couldn't use the ticket just because it's expired. This is ridiculous. You're trying to steal my money. Let me talk to your manager right now. They are going to let me use this ticket or I will sue you. Oh yeah, on that subject, threatening a lawsuit is another popular one that people try all day long. See, when I worked retail I was happy to get my manager. They get paid to deal with that crap. Had a lady call our Pizza Hut claiming that we gave her hard undercooked wings that sent her daughter to the hospital and wanted us to pay her medical bills. However, none of the 5 or 6 phone numbers she provided showed any orders for wings or anything else in our system or the nearest few stores. I don't know if she just expected us to give her thousands of dollars on hearsay. This was internal. I served at a Red Robin for a while, and you can sign up for these cards called royalty cards where every 10th burger is free. A couple servers at my restaurant got themselves all fired at the same time for trying to game the system. They would swipe the card for any table that didn't have one, and then apply the 10th burger to a table that paid in cash, so that they could pocket the extra $10 or so. Red Robin monitors how often the cards are used. They were caught within 2 days. One day, I was working with my dad and a customer told him he would call his manager and get him fired because he is a good friend of his. My dad owns the store. He laughed and told him to never come back again. Another time, some guy tried to steal a banjo by putting it under his jacket, and lucky for him, I was taking a break and looking at the cameras and caught him. I went to confront him. He took the banjo and started rubbing it with his jacket, saying that he was cleaning it, not stealing. You might have some good stories for our tellers from retail. Working at the pool, I have had more than one person use man. It's called free swim for a reason. It's actually called recreation swim, so go pay. Argue with me about the size of a free birthday scoop. B. It says it right there. I feel ya. Speak be hard sometimes. One of my old jobs had an online order system with a special instructions box. You wouldn't believe how many times people typed in add bacon or double meat, extra cheese expecting to get these things for free. They always got pee if you added these things to their ticket, and then they would be like, well, I don't want those things if they cost extra. They would always expect me to give them their already made sandwich with the extras. Nope, I remade them every time. I was a dishwasher in my high school years. Our restaurant was awesome and the kitchen waitstaff got to eat the mistake food for free, so I loved the people that tried to pull this scam. I once saw a woman at a Longhorns chain steakhouse walk out with the entire bowl of those small packaged mints. The hostess was in such shock that by the time she walked out to say something, the woman already drove off. Dude, those things are the giraffe's laugh. I don't blame the lady, even though you can get a bag at Walmart. I used to work in a call center. My job was to call customers' references. These are usually people that know the customer well enough, and we make sure the info we have on file is correct. 1/10, we'll get a mom, boyfriend, friend, aunt who will put the customer on blast and tell us that they will not pay their bill. Customer will get cancelled. As per call center rules, we are not allowed to hang up on people or argue with them. The worst were when the customer would list 3 references, set up 3 Google Voice numbers, and then answer the phone on all 3 numbers and just attempt to change their voice to give themselves a reference. And I had to sit and listen to it the whole time. Ask them questions while they plug their nose and try to pass themselves off as a different person. Worked at Starbucks for a while. Had this one guy always try to scam free stuff. So to get a venti coffee, it's what, like $2-3. And first thing in the morning we don't have much cash in the drawers. Maybe $50 seeing as it's the start of the day. So this guy comes in 5 AM 5:30 and orders just a large coffee, but you see he only has a $100. Me being the nice customer friendly girl I am, just offers it to him for free, not realizing what was happening, and sends him on his way. It's not his fault we don't have change for him, right? Then he tries it again the next day. I mean, really, are you so stupid that you would think I wouldn't notice it? This time I say, oh, let me get the manager so we can make change for you. Oh, now you suddenly have a $5 bill in your car. Sure. Not to mention, everybody has a credit card these days, and denying $100 bill for small purchases is very common because people often do that with counterfeit bills. So, don't even offer to make change. Good policy is to require the purchase be over $50 before accepting $100s. I work in a fairly high-end restaurant. Apparently it's extremely common for people to pull a piece of their own hair out and put it in their food so they don't have to pay the bill. I really don't get this logic. I find an eyelash or a stray hair in my food maybe 1-2 times a year. I pick it off and continue eating, like it's not that big of a deal. Back when I was in college and worked at 7-Eleven, paper food stamps was still the norm. It wasn't around yet. We kept a stack of $1 food stamps in the register for making change on larger denominations, but any change less than $1 was given back in coins. We sold some small candies for 5 or 10 cents a piece, and people would come in over and over, buy a candy with a $1 stamp, get their change, leave the store, rinse and repeat until they have enough change to buy alcohol. Here in the UK it's actually illegal to give cash change for food stamps, for exactly this reason. Like yours, our food stamp system is not valid for purchases of alcohol or tobacco. My buddy works at a local Taco John's. Whenever somebody pays with exact change, he just cancels the order and pockets the cash. This is why a lot of fast food places have a little sign now that says that if you don't get a receipt your order is free. Those people who ask for cups of water and a bowl of lemons wedges, then proceed to make lemonade with sugar packets at the table. This happened quite a few times when I was a waitress. I get that water is free and lemons are technically free, but honestly, the lemon wedges probably cost the business more than a cup of lemonade. My manager would just have me charge them for a drink. I used to work in medical billing. This one lady called to make an appointment and she had no proof of her insurance. She insisted she had insurance and was unwilling to pay anything at her appointment. We said if she had her insurance agent call our office with her policy info and confirm that she was insured, we would accept that. So she hangs up. Then within minutes she calls us back from the same number, her cell number, and pretends to be an insurance representative. My coworker got at one and said, "Excuse me, mom, Are you calling from the patient's cell phone? The lady hung up that phone very quickly and we never heard from her again. Good day, insurance's offices of James M. McGill Esquire. I confirm that she has insurance. K. Bye. People at grocery store self-checkout who scan something cheap but then put something way more expensive but the same weight into their bags. I guess I have a story about the opposite that always blew my mind. My parents live out in the country, and there is a super tiny McDonald's on the highway closest to them. They went to grab a quick bite, and they are about 15 minutes from home at this location, so they order inside and eat inside. My mom ordered chicken nuggets, bit one while she was sitting down and realized it was pretty cold, so she returned it, and they gave her a freshly fried sixer, so she was happy of course. 5-10 minutes later, a lady came running inside yelling at the top of her lungs that someone had bit into one of her nuggets. Instead of checking mom's used box o' nugs, they just threw it in the next drive-through bag. She still laughs her butt off about that. Oh man, we had a waiter keep used gift cards, and then when a family would try and pay with a gift card he would swap them so it looked like it didn't work and the family would pay or get their meal comped and he would walk away with the cards. He then sold them on Craigslist or used them when people paid in cash and kept the money. My boss called the number on Craigslist who was selling our cards and asked who he was. He was fired the next day. I've heard of scummy cashiers just lying and saying that your gift card had nothing on it and then after to throw it away for you. I think it was Best Buy cashiers that were pulling this. You have been visited by the Holy Doggo. Like and subscribe, you magnificent person.